Find the equation of the tangent line for 2 plus the cubed root of x cubed y plus 6y squared equals xy squared plus 10y plus 4x at the point negative 2 comma 2. To find the equation of the tangent line, we need a point, that is given, as well as the slope, that is the derivative. To find the derivative, we have an implicit equation here. We have an equation that is relating x and y, but it is not solved for y in terms of x. So we will have to take the derivative implicitly. Before we do that, let's rewrite the radical, the cubed root, on the left side as a fractional exponent. 2 plus x cubed y plus 6y squared to the first power third root. On the right side, we will leave everything as is. To find the slope of the tangent line, we need the derivative. The derivative is found implicitly by taking the derivative of both sides with respect to x, indicated by a prime on both sides. On the left side, the first term is a constant, derivative will be 0. The second term will be a power rule. We'll bring the power down, leave the inside alone, subtract 1 from the power, I will call that 3/3, and then multiply by the derivative of the inside to complete the chain rule. The first term of the inside is a product, x cubed times y. The derivative of the first, 3x squared, times the second left alone, y, plus the first left alone, x cubed times the derivative of the second. The derivative of y is 1, y prime. Every time we take the derivative of a y term, we will have a y prime due to the chain rule. The second term, 6y squared, its derivative will be power rule. Bring down the 2, multiply with the 6, 12, subtract 1 from the power, y to the first power, but then multiply by the derivative of the inside, which will give us a y prime to complete the chain rule. On the right side, we have the first term is a product rule. The derivative of the first is a 1 times the second left alone, y squared, plus the first left alone, x, times the derivative of the second, which will be 2y, and then y prime. The second term, 10 times y, the 10 will come along, the derivative of y is y prime. The third term, 4x, the derivative of a constant times x is a constant, so we will just have plus 4. So we have 1/3 x cubed y plus 6y squared to the 1 minus 3 negative 2/3 power 3x squared y plus x cubed y prime plus 12y y prime equals 2. The 1's implied, so we can write that as y squared. We can move the 2 to the front, the next term, so 2xy y prime, and then the 10y prime and the 4 we will leave as is. We want to solve for y prime here as a number. We do not need to solve for it as a function of x and y. So we can plug the numbers in from the point at any time. But before we do that, let's rewrite this negative exponent that's on the left as a positive exponent. This will move to the denominator down here with the 3 that's already in the denominator to become a positive exponent. Everything else will be in the numerator. So in the numerator, we will have 1 times everything in the parentheses here. Well, 1 times anything is the same thing. So that'll be our numerator over the denominator. So we will have 3x squared y plus x cubed y prime plus 12y y prime all over. There's a 3 already in the denominator due to the 1/3. And we will have the x cubed y plus 6y squared, now raised to the positive 2/3 power. And then the right side we can leave as is. We can now plug in the numbers for x and y from the point. Up here at the point, that's the x, that's the y. So we have 3 times negative 2 squared times a 2 plus negative 2 cubed times y prime plus 12 times 2 y prime divided by 3 times negative 2 cubed times 2 plus 6 times 2 squared, the entire thing to the 2/3 power, equals 2 squared plus 2 times negative 2 times positive 2 times y prime plus 10y prime plus 4. So we have 3 times negative 2 squared is a positive 4 times 2. Negative 2 cubed, negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4 times 1 more negative 2 is negative 8 y prime. A positive 12 times a 2 is a positive 24 y prime. All divided by 3 times negative 2 cubed, once again, is a negative 8. And then we have a 6 times 2 squared, which is a 4. That entire thing is to the 2/3 power, equals 2. And then we have 2 squared, which is a 4. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4 times 1 more 2 is negative 8 y prime plus 10 y prime plus 4. So back on the left, we have 3 times 4, which is 12, times a 2, which is a 24. We have a negative 8 y prime plus a 24 y prime, which is plus 16 y prime on the numerator. And then in the denominator, we will have 3 times negative 8 times 2 is negative 16, plus 6 times 4 is plus 24, and that entire thing is to the 2/3 power, equals to, on the right side we can add the 4's together. 4 plus 4 is 8, and a minus 8 y prime plus a 10 y prime is a positive 2 y prime. So we now have 24 plus 16y prime divided by 3 times 8 to the 2/3 power equals to 8 plus 2 y prime. So 24 plus 16y prime over 3 times 8 to the 2/3. 2/3 power means cube root for the 3 and square the result for the 2. Cube root of 8 is a 2. So we'll have 2 squared. And this equals to 8 plus 2y prime. So we have 24 plus 16y prime divided by 3 times 2 squared. 2 squared is 4 times the 3 will be a 12 equals 8 plus 2y prime. We can now multiply both sides by 12, so this 12 will move up here and distribute through that. That will be our next step. So 24 plus 16y prime will equal to 96 plus 24y prime. We can now subtract both sides 24y prime. So we have 24 minus 8y prime equals to 96. And now we can subtract both sides 24. So we have negative 8y prime equals to 72. And divide both sides by a negative 8. 72 divided by negative 8 is negative 9. This will be our slope. So we have our slope and we have our point. We can now set up the equation of the tangent line using the point-slope formula. The point-slope formula is going to be y minus the y-coordinate. The y-coordinate of the point back over here is a 2, equals the slope, which is a negative 9, times x minus the x-coordinate of the point over here is a negative 2. We want to solve for y to put it into the slope-intercept form. To do this, we can start by x minus a negative 2 is the same thing as x plus a 2. Now we can distribute the negative 9 in, and that will give us negative 9x minus 18. And we can now add 2 to both sides to solve for y, and we get negative 9x minus 16. And there's the equation of the tangent line for that implicit equation at that point.